Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today we're doing a little bit of quick constructed grinding in honor of one of my Twitch subscribers who is also a YouTube viewer. Uber Wideman gave me a Twitch subscription, and as a Twitch subscriber or a Patreon $5 tier member, you can request me to play whatever you want to, and I will play it on Twitch. But I'm also experimenting with playing it on the YouTube as well. So this is a video I'm making for Uber Wideman because I know he watches the YouTube channel, and I felt like I didn't play my best when I played the GRIXIS deck for Twitch. So to make it up, here is a YouTube video dedicated to you playing a Nicol Bolas GRIXIS deck. So right away, I feel like I've got some early game, but I'm just stone cold dead in so many ways. Plus I have to draw a black mana. But we have 26 lands. We have cards like Chart, of course, to help with that. It's my first game of the day. This is very borderline. I don't know what my opponent's playing, but I do believe they mulliganed. I'm going to keep it, and we're going to see what happens to our opponent. And we're going to see what happens to us. It's a saucy one for sure. Sacred Cat. And right off the frickin' top, my friends, maybe today is already shaping up to be a better day than the run I had with the deck on stream. Since I'm talking about it, I may as well talk about it. Yeah, it was a tough day. We first of all didn't hit our third land drop for 2 games in a row, so we put some more lands in the deck, then we drew 12 in a row. I know you've all been there. I know you've seen it. I know it's cliche at this point, but geez, when it goes down like that, the feel bads. Just saying. Our opponent has gotten 3 lands, but now they're stalling a bit, and I'm thinking about this Doomfall hitting the hand or this Magma Spray hitting the next creature. I guess for 4 mana there could be an Ajani, but I have a Contempt. Let's drop the Slough and pass it right along. All right, Cat comes in. I'm going to take the damage and see if there's another, say, Adorn Pounce or something else to shock. Ooh, an Anointed Procession. We don't have a way to remove that, so let's get that Cat dead. And now we could Bolas, we could Doomfall. I feel like we should Doomfall and make sure that our opponent doesn't get their token on. Or we could just start the clock. It's not like Doomfall is going to do any good very soon. I mean, making the opponent exile a creature they control when they're making a bunch of tokens? Yeah. Hey, we hit Settle the Wreckage. Our opponent's down to just an Arch of Vraska, and we're hoping they're not top-decking Regal Caracal, something that would just smash the game for me. Let's go ahead and hit that card out of the hand. I bet it's a land. And a Thopter Arrest. Okie dokie. Hallelujah. Magma Spray exiled the critters, but there is an Anointer Priest. Let's start the beats. We could exile the Anointed Priest as well, but I'm in no hurry. Let's jam a Scarab God. Nothing to reanimate just yet, but as soon as, say, the priest chump blocks... Ah, the angel. The angel's arrived! Right on time. That's a problem. Magma Spray can take it out, but I'd really love to reanimate it. There, 23. Bolas can flip, draw some cards. Can't sweep the board, though. Just taking another look. Has anything changed? No. Go figure. I guess let's try to force the opponent into some poor blocks. Let's stay aggressive here, as I don't want to deal with hordes of tokens turn after turn. There's also Shafet Dunes over there. They can hit us pretty hard. Is that all you got? Okay. Alright, we're going to look like we could be in a lot of pain. Of course, playing the land and not flipping the Bolas is very likely to reveal that we have shenanigans. But we'll see how our opponent wants to play around it. All right, you go away. As much as I would have loved to get you back, we're just not having that right now. I'm also going to hold the Contempt. There might be something more appropriate to hit, or maybe someday we can draw these Shafet Dunes into happening. Now, does the opponent have another Settle the Wreckage? Fair question. But it's not really worth trying to draw another Doomfall to get it. I don't have to attack with everything, though. Let's send the Scarab God. It's not like he has a ton of reanimation targets. If our opponent does play a Settle the Wreckage, we can... Oh, there it is. We can Abrade the Anointer Priest and reanimate with Scarab God. And it's like Scarab God never left. Let's go find a land. As good as any. Our opponent and their 1/1s. They do have Arch of Vraska. They can draw some cards. All right, let's get them. Let's flip them. Still nothing dead to bring back, so we'll draw the cards. Power up. I'm going to keep playing out lands. It's a very mana hungry deck, and especially once we have Bolas shenanigans going, Scarab Gods. No reason to hold them, hold them, hold them. Alright, the card draw continues for the Arch. Legion's Landing will crank out a pair. A few token beats for the Bolas.
Interesting.
Quite. Let's keep the cards flowing.
I always have an answer.
Nicol Bolas, get that card. Alright. Priest, go get 'ems. Opponent chump blocking all day long. They seem to be into it. Drop another God of Scarabs. Cradle of the Accursed. That is a way to get some tokens that you don't see all the time. Arch draw. If I were the opponent, I would consider being careful with Arch drawing because I keep hitting their cards with things like Bolas. I really do want this. It's not what I necessarily need right now. We are drawing extra cards every turn, but I love this card. This is not a rational choice. All right. In the meantime, keep them flowing.
I know what must be done.
Everybody into the swimming pool. Get them. Let's chart this course. Let's draw these cards. Let's chart this course. Let's draw these cards. Champion of Wits. Now, there we go. Trying to think. I also want to have 4 mana open to get back this Knight, so I can play the Champ this turn and still have that. The Sweltering Suns might come in handy someday, but not this day. And this Bolas can be dropped off. All right, end the turn. Yeah, you're gonna need a little miracle. Gonna need a little miracle. Ixalan's Binding. We could exile Scarab God, so we could find another, or we could just get the Knight. I'll take the Knight. I don't have a lot of ways to deal with the Binding. but I don't feel like I need to deal with it. I don't feel like Scarab God needs to hang out to win the game no more. Anointed Procession number deuce. Alrighty then. Let's get the job done, shall we? Roar. One game down. Our opponent's white token deck took a little too long to get running. That's the way it goes sometimes. Certainly been there myself. Let's go have a look over here. Jump in the deck list for just a minute. It's a little different. A little different from other decks I've seen anyway, if you look around the internet a lot. But still the same idea. We're going to play Bolas. We're going to play Scarab God. We're going to get back things we like. We got 3 Champion of Wits and 3 Sweltering Suns. I find the arena to be much more aggressive than the typical standard, so I'm willing to hedge a bit against the more aggressive decks, especially at this point in the format. I'm seeing a lot less control. It's about 12% of what I'm seeing at the moment. I could pull that stats up, but it takes too long. Still love my Bloodfast, and I run Chart, of course. I have too many land issues. Just not enough land, too many land. Whatever it is, I seem to need something that's 2-spot. I run Anticipate in other decks. I like Chart, of course, in this one, just to drop off extra things I don't need. And sometimes it's just a 2-mana draw too. But often I use Anticipate in the spot too, but that's more to go with Torrential Gearhulk, who got cut from this particular deck. We do have a lot of, you may have noticed, a lot of Exile effect, which doesn't necessarily work with Scarab God for getting the opponent's things back, and yet you need it, because cards like Rekindling Phoenix, Hazoret, and Scrap Heap Scrounger just beat you. So, let's make sure they die. Next game. On the draw, Birafum. Well, the spray served us well last time, and if we are in the aggressive format, this is okay, or could be okay. Won't be okay against Karizev and the Chain Whirler. Our opponent on a mulligan, second time today. And it's an island, Rutrow. We'll deploy the pools. I'm already thinking this is going to get cycled at the rate I'm going. Although that could be dramatically greedy. Land drops are a thing in control matchups. But what we... Mirror. Of course. I'm going to hold on to the land for a little while. Just make sure I draw a few others that I need. And it looks like we have. But yeah, hand is pretty cold. Pretty dang cold. And yet, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to hold on. It even makes it look like I have something, because it pauses the priority at all the stops, which makes the opponent think I could counter or do nasty things to their stuff. Which, posturing, that's about as good as it gets right now. Bring me another card, please. Contempt is fine. Let's deploy. As long as we can hold up Contempt. I didn't plan to jam a Scarab God there this turn anyway. I really want to get my opponent moving. They're moving. That's a really obnoxious card though. And is it something worth contempting? I don't believe so. I have Abrades and I have Sweltering Suns that can kill it, so we're not going to kill it right this minute. Let's play a... Whatever we play is likely to get exiled by Vraska's Contempt. With no cards actually in the graveyard right now, let's play the Scarab God. Because then we can play, you know, other Scarab God. And then maybe Bolas, if it survives one turn cycle, we flip it. That can get us ahead. Maybe, sorta, kinda. Big turn. Our opponent has access to 1 card from our exile and 5 other cards. So they've got a 6-card hand. And they say go. Rar. Perhaps waiting to see if I try to do shenanigans with this card. Well, I'll tell you what shenanigans I'll do. I'll attack with it. If the opponent wants to block with the Gonti, I'll recast it. If they counter it, that's okay. 1 less counter in the world. Plus it means there's a Gonti in the graveyard. So if Scarab God actually does happen, it has something to get back. Alrighty. We'll play other Scarab God. Supreme Will. 1 less counter in the world. And next turn, the Supreme Will won't counter Scarab God, so if the opponent's focusing on that, as several Grixis decks do, won't be a big deal. And yet, I could wait so I could play this and be able to get something back in the same turn, which is actually really sweet, as it can save the Scarab God from Vraska's Contempt. Let's give Bolas a shot. If this gets Essence Scattered, countered, another thing I can get back with my Scarab God should I resolve it. Gross. So be it. Syncopate isn't one I often see in the Grixis list, but right now there's so much you can do with it, you can't be surprised by anything. Anything! Stormcrow. Brilliant, it's a 4/4 flying zombie with the Scarab God. Ah, you took my Majesty. You animal.
Apologies for the smell. I've been recruiting.
Gross! Gross!
Nothing is ever truly gone.
It feels like it. Let's just Contempt you. Don't negate me. Or syncopate me. Alright. Lucky me. But here we go again. Please see 4 lands. 4 lands. 4 lands. It's unlikely to be 4 lands. Let's be real. Alright. Scarab God. We don't have a Gonti in the graveyard anymore, but we have another Scarab God, which can save us from Vraska's Contempt. We just get back the other Scarab God, Legend Rule. Our Scarab God returns to our hand. We replay it. And Doomfall, yep. Doomfall is what they took from us. Choose the legendary permanent you wish to keep. I wish to keep this token. This one goes to the graveyard. Triggers, so it will return to my hand on end step. That is rather silly. This card has a casting cost, as Scarab God tokens do. Fatal Pushing one doesn't work the way our opponent wants it to work. Ooh, Bloodfast. Bloodfast. All right, so next time I want to play Scarab God, I really would prefer to have something to reanimate. So I'm going to run out the Champion of Wits. Another champion, we can drop that in the graveyard. And I could drop this Canyon Slough. Is that going to be better or worse than a Magma Spray? I think right now the Magma Spray isn't doing nearly enough. But it is a relevant spell, whereas this is another land. I am going to drop off the Slough. It's not sure when it will be relevant, but sometimes you gotta have faith. We could always have to double spray a Gonti. You can always spray a Liliana token. There are things. Stuff happens. You could block and then spray if the opponent tries to eat the champ. My turn. Oh, yes. Cards, please. So what does a Gear Hulk do right now? Supreme Will is probably the best thing there, which it's not the best Gear Hulk. Cards, yes, please. Ho-ha. All right. Scarab God. The Scarab God. Excuse me, Your Majesty. I am sorry. Bring forth the Legion. Unless, of course, Essence Scatter, Sadness. A tap-out Syncopate would do the job as well. There is your Gear Hulk. Gear Hulk has choices. Uh-huh. Can keep me from activating Scarab God for a turn cycle. Little they know. Another awaits. So, I believe if I hit Resolve here, I'd then get the option to pay 3. There we go. I guess leaving up both Magma Sprays is fine. Can I undo? I can. So I want to leave a Sulfur Falls and Drowned Catacomb. My bad. Sorry, world. Don't know why that part like threw me so hard. I had a senior moment. They happen a lot more when you hit my old age. Now I'm expecting a Vraska's Contempt, which would be a good reason for the line. Opponent's looking around, nosing. Although you would think if our opponent had a Vraska's Contempt, they would have used it on a previous Scarab God so they could then Torrential Gear Hulk Vraska's Contempt, since that's like the nuts. It's hard to stay hand detective when they seem to always have 5 cards in their hand. Obviously a few more could be Fatal Push. Another could be Supreme Will, trying to use it as a counter, which doesn't make a lot of sense with all this land on the battlefield. I'd have done what our opponent just did, fire it off. Get some value. Who wants to come over and play? Nobody? Nobody's into this? Somebody's into this? Alright. I don't feel inclined to Magma Spray the Gonti. I certainly could. I think we'll just take our chump here. My turn. The opponent might be waiting to use a Contempt if I use this Bloodfast, but since I don't have a way to counter it anyway, and since they are pretty much priced into going for it, they're going to go for it no matter what, I better draw my card. Get me a champ, pretty please. Do we have Disallow? That's pretty weird. All right. So I could do it again, or I could see what I draw. 7 mana. Thinking about my deck. And I'm going to do it again. Is just fine. Disallowing the Scarab God activation isn't the same as disallowing the Champion of Wits Embalm, where they exile the champ. I'll go ahead and pitch these since it's similar to cycling them. Yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Draw more cards, cycle thing. This would kill the Gonti. That's pretty fine. Let's get some damage in. Fatal Push won't get that without Revolt, but our opponent has one up right now. You know, I'll just take my 2 cards. Keep them coming. Have more tools. See if our opponent can find a way out of Scarab God madness. That is a Siphoner. Cute little guy. My big plan is to chump the Gear Hulk and then Magma Spray it. Although now that I have an Abrade, that's not necessary either. So now... Alright, Harness Lightning. So we're going to take a punch. I can take a punch. Sweltering Suns exposes me to Magma Spray, but we can Doomfall the hand first. I'm not going to do the upkeep thing like last time. I'm going to draw, I'm going to Doomfall, and decide where to go from there. Play Outland first. Our opponent is a Syncopator. Show me what you're working with. Well then. We're still a land short of Scarab God into activation. Torrential Gear Hulk has some sweet targets, but none of them handle Scarab God. Alright, I'm going to take away your Gear Hulk. Alright, let's clean him up. It's also Abrade. And I'm just going to hold up the activation. If my opponent plays a Scarab God, I can keep them from activating by responding to the activation if they play Scarab God and land, specifically. Okay, they found the land, so they'll play their Scarab God. If they target something, I can Scarab God them in response, and that buys me time to use my Vraska's Contempt. I just can't tap out to Scarab God right now. I have to wait until I untap. So if they go for it right this second, though, I'll just Scarab God in response. Alright, my turn. Okay. Vraska's Contempt your Scarab God. Opponent will target something with Scarab God, and I'll Scarab God the thing that our opponent targets in response. Brutal, but the jungle is a brutal place. Don't even need it. End the turn. And now I'll await something else to reanimate. See if the opponent lets me take this Gonti for the BMs. So I can see what's on top of their deck. See what's in their deck. See what they're working with. More pushes. Hey, they Gonti'd me twice. I know some of y'all are like, that's BM. They Gonti'd me twice, dang it. They touched my cards. My digital cards. They got up in my business. Alrighty. Well, we're at half an hour-ish. We're on 2-0. If you would like to see how the deck does, we'll record the rest of the quick constructed run. That will be available for patrons and subscribers. You can find the link to that in the Discord channel. So, for this video, for today, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it a lot. There's a link in description if you want to learn more about being a patron, or if you want to learn about going to Twitch and subscribing over there. But either of those get access to special videos that aren't available to everybody. And once again, thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.